hear Cookie getting into it. It reminds her of her home, where Cookie is from. She's from Kentucky, I believe, right? So that's
correct.
That's my shit. Turn that shit up.
That's my jam.
Even on the white person music scale, that would be like me going, "Oh, Rod's coming on Rain on Your Parade. Tag team, whoop, there it is."
I mean, that's the joke, all right, let's get started. Here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Sunday morning, bright and early, ready to give you some podcasting. Find us everywhere you get podcasts. Search the Blackout Tips. We'll come up. Leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts because we read them. And if they're nice, they make us feel good.
Mm-hmm.
The official weapon of the show is
phone chair.
And the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. And we're not alone today, as you can tell from the show notes, possibly even the title. Who knows? We're podcasting from the past here. It is comedian, writer, actor. What else is this man done? Impressionist. I mean, just an overall curmudgeon. 6'7" of rage. It's JL Covan. What's up, man?
Great to be here. I just want to say, I was a little late. Mass went a little late this morning, and this is. I'll just tell you, nothing could define me as a person more than what happened, which is I'm leaving church. I'm feeling good. Part spiritual, part therapeutic. I'm walking out of the church. I hold the door for a guy. Doesn't say thank you.
Of course.
Immediately, I'm like, I start the week off minute 1 with F this dude. And I was like, no, don't do that to me. I was just like, because I'm, of course, going, it's bad enough when people don't show good manners, but I'm like, we are leaving church. Shouldn't you at least be in a mannerly state of mind leaving church? Like at least this is the place I would expect you to, at least, even if you're not like that, to just be like, oh, thank you, brother Covan. Appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
That was your test from God. It was like, okay, we just talked about grace.
You did not pass.
We just talked about giving grace. We just talked about,
being thankful
and thankfulness. Let's just see if JL took any of that with him outside of the sermon. And first 5 minutes, nope. All right.
No, one foot still in church as I'm in the process of exiting. One leg in the what is the restricted zone. And it was an hour and 5 minutes for the people's trashing our grab and go services.
Well, I'm laughing because you said you were 5 minutes late, and you're like, because service went long, and I'm just like, oh, that's nice. That must feel great.
For you, it's an extra 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. Oh no, not now. You may miss 5 minutes of the Shoney's breakfast buffet. Black church go long. It'd be in the afternoon. Sometimes you just be like, so are we ever getting the fuck out of here?
Did the sun go down on us? It did.
Gary Owen has a phenomenal bit that I've seen him do live a couple of times, but it's about him going to black church with, I guess, now his ex-wife. And like at the end of the bit, he's missing Monday Night Football.
That's how it is.
He's like, that's a step show. That isn't even church.
What does the preacher apologize for keeping y'all 5 minutes late when it's the Catholic Church? Because I feel like that's a huge violation.
No, not at all. And I will say, just based on the neighborhood I live in, because I go to Catholic churches all over the country when I'm on the road, and most of them are extremely white, but I live in a town that is like 55% white, 25% Latino, and like 15% black. So like I'll admit this, it's the only Catholic church I've ever been to that's like this sort of like a slice of the community versus it's not a sugar cookie where like a chocolate chip got lost. It's a very like
and floated in there.
Yes, crowd for one. So it's nice.
Yeah, we have when I was growing up, we had a couple kids up the street that went to Catholic church and Catholic school. And they were black, but we used to treat them like they were like white kids. Basically, we were like, "What? How did you get lost on the way to Baptist church and end up in the Catholic
You took
church?
a left turn somewhere.
Like, is everything okay? Y'all don't know none of the phrases, you know?"
Hey, Cookie.
Yeah, what's going? Cookie is very active. She misses us. It's been a while, guys.
And
that is her Kentucky Tennessee roots saying, I smell fully black people.
Yeah, I can hear the voices. Now, also, you were gonna be here last week, but you had some, as always say, JL plans and God laughs.
I laughed at that when you said it.
You weren't able to make it, man, because you had like an emergency, a dental emergency. What happened?
Yeah, I had an infection in my mouth. All this fire I'm spitting apparently, infected my mouth, and so I was on antibiotics, which I thought would take care of it, but it just wasn't. And that's cause for concern when you're on the medicine and it's doing nothing. So I went to this dentist, and he looked at it and said the root canal that I had was failing, and that there was a big infection, and he recommended extraction. So they got Chris Hemsworth in there, and
he beat up several small Asian people.
But I will say it was as you would expect. I'm laughing, going, "Oh, I'm tall, so of course my teeth have like long, difficult roots." And the dentist, it was like, even with all the numbing, the amount of pressure required to rip this tooth out, it hurt anyway. Like, it was like, I like when he was done, I was actually, not to make the Captain Phillips joke, I wasn't crying like, "Oh, I'm so sad," or hurt, but like involuntary Denzel glory tears were coming down both eyes, and I was quaking because it felt like somebody had just beat the crap out of my mouth for a half hour.
Ooh, he was worthy of taking out them roots, apparently.
Yeah. It was so that was, I couldn't like speak basically the next day. Like, there was so much trauma going on. Half Black Trauma, the next album. So it was like I couldn't even, the meds were barely working. I was in so much pain. So,
and I want to pause you for 1 second to acknowledge Karen's joke, because
sorry.
No, it's fine. No, because if it was a bad pun, I normally point it out, but this is such a great one. He brought up Hemsworth and extraction, and his tooth was extracted, and then Karen said it's because the doctor was worthy, because like Thor has to be worthy to pick up the hammer. That was a bar, Karen. I did hear that. That was pretty amazing. I
just be talking out here, and I'll be like, somebody go get
it. It went like several layers deep, like getting out a tooth of a 6'7" man. And also, JL, I've experienced that as well. The I don't know, maybe it's just being bigger guys or whatever, but they give you the numbing agent or whatever, and then they get in your mouth, and it's like, did it not work, or is it just what my teeth are just strong, like just strong several generations of slavery teeth or some shit, and y'all are just ripping, like it's taking all the power to rip them out. When I had my wisdom teeth extracted, I remember it, and they were like, "No, it's impossible. You were out." I'm like, "Well, I fucking heard y'all talking."
Oh, that's creepy. That's like, there was like a movie about that, like a horror movie about a dude who's like still awake and hears people like talking about like removing his organs or something. Like,
I was like under, but not under. I was like, well, did it take too long? Like, and then they're like, you're still groggy and shit. I can't really communicate too well. My mom's got to drive me home, and they're like, "Oh yeah, everything was fine." And I was like, "The fuck it was, man. I was there for it." I heard you being like, "Oh, we're gonna need the drill for this one." And I heard you say that, but anyway, I'm glad that. How's it going now, though?
It's finally like, it's still a little sore, but it's like we're definitely good now. You know what I mean? It's just been getting better for like 3-4 straight days, which is, now you can feel confident. I'm still on the antibiotics, but it's teeth. It's one of those things. It's like you're gonna have to give me more Novocaine than the 110-pound woman dosage.
Yes, you might have to tell them to double it up, or something like that. Because like I've had a total of 8 teeth pulled out, and when I go under. Like I don't feel anything. And 2 of them they had to pull out through my nose. I don't remember nothing. The surgeon was so happy he kept bragging to Roderick, because I guess you don't get to do that too often. So he kept telling Roderick I don't remember none of that shit.
Was he telling Roderick in the dental office cafeteria where Roderick was hanging out during this procedure?
No, I stayed in the lobby the whole
time. They didn't have a cafeteria wing connected to this. It was one level. Nowhere you could get lost.
I just figured that, it's important to be there for a loved one who's under sedation, because you hear nightmares every day. But, I didn't go. I'm going to stop by McDonald's and I'll be right back. Good luck with the teeth. That's just not my style. But everyone has their own style. Did you miss any stand-up stuff because of it?
I didn't miss any stand-up. I had a stand-up gig canceled on me because a week out in Syracuse, I had sold exactly 1 ticket. Which,
no.
As I often joke on Patreon, where if anybody still misses the Righteous Prick episodes where I was, deep in despair, and Mike, my producer, is keeping me too upbeat and focused on Rain on Your Parade. The Patreon every third episode is like a classic. Should we call 911 or emergency services on JL? But as I've said, as Jesus famously said, wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name, I will be there. Right. And I didn't meet the Jesus code for ticket sales.
You got 1 or more, and so he couldn't make it.
That
Cookie
one black
been there.
I know that one Black Guy Who Tips fan who's highly disappointed that JL didn't come all the way out there for them, because the probably one of our fans going, they've been talking about JL coming to my town. They was all excited.
No, it's either one of your fans or one of Pete Dominic's fans, but it certainly isn't one of my fans. One of my I have more good second generation fans than I have my own first generation fans. My fan base is a mile wide and a millimeter deep. I had a guy say to me like 8 months ago, "Oh man, I haven't seen your stuff in over a year. I thought you quit." Now this is a year where I released 2 specials. Right. I've got gigs. I've got a new podcast, and I'm going, there is a real easy way to check if I've quit. If you think I've quit comedy, a check of my website or the Twitter page, since you're on Twitter,
maybe
will
he's
reveal it.
Effort.
Maybe he's such a real fan that he was hoping you quit. Like in the way that you hoped Walt wouldn't come back, at the end.
Right, like Ben Affleck in Good Will Hunting, when he's secretly happy that Matt Damon has left town.
Yeah, like he was like, if I check, then I'm gonna find out, and it's gonna just end up being the algorithm still fucking this guy. But if I don't check, it's like Schrodinger's cat. Maybe he's out in Cleveland with his dog, and he's a lawyer, and he's just living a family life.
Best life. Did all his dreams come true?
And of course, that's not what happened, because of JL. It was some fuck shit.
Indeed.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And then my last complaint to get off my chest is I watched the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night.
Yeah,
and they had this impersonator on. And he bombed, and I slept better last night than I have in like 3 months, because it just felt like a dose. It's like your agent and your publicist can buy you a lot, but if you're a hack, it can't get you out of that.
Yeah, I did appreciate that. There was still bombing happening at that. Like, there were still jokes that, and there's some jokes that go over uncomfortable because they're supposed to. Like, I'm right. Like I actually love when comedians do that at the Correspondents' Dinner. It's kind of half a roast, right? But I do like that it was so real that someone bombed, that they were like, no, this shit is not funny, and you should feel bad about this
for even attempting that joke.
We're all in $1,000 gowns eating luxury dinners, and your shit's not funny.
Exactly.
I always wonder if it's way too late now, but I always wonder if on Making Podcasts Great Again, y'all should have had 5 minutes of JL being regular JL before shifting into Trump, so that maybe some people can be fans of JL, because I feel like they're fans of the Trump impression. But like, you know, who wants to do that shit all the you're a powerhouse of talent. You don't want to make your act 95% Trump just to fucking chase these Trump views, especially the way you do it, which is like off the dome. So you got to kind of really inhabit that mind space. It's not really it's a comedic mind space for you, but it's not the same as like just listening to you pontificate on like movies or TV or whatever. So I always kind of wonder if like maybe that was the thing, is like if there had been more JL and Make Podcasts Great Again, maybe you could have got a little more crossover, or if it just would have found another way to not work out.
I'm gonna say B. I'm gonna say I can be there. But what I will say, and the reason I can go, because I have some great fans, of course. It's not 100%. Right. But like when Tallboy came out in last summer, and I basically, my plan with Making Podcasts Great Again was like, when Half Blackface was originally supposed to come out, I was like, I'm going to keep the podcast going until then, because I want to directly reach the people who've stuck with me. So like, you know, hey, if we have 4,000 listeners, even though it's down from 2020, those are still 4,000 people listening to me each week. They certainly have to be like, oh, cool, JL doesn't really hit us up for anything. Even if I'm not a stand-up fan, like it's JL, let me go get his album. Like, and when I saw the sale numbers, I said, oh no, I misjudged. I misjudged my fan base. And that's when we made it $1 for the last season, to be like, you want the full episodes? It's $1. And the amount of people, forget how many signed up, which was a good amount, but not nearly what I thought would. But the amount of people who were like, bye then, like immediately became like snotty about it. And I didn't tell them the reason. I didn't go on the show and go, well, since you didn't buy my shit, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't say that on the air. I was just like, hey, for the last season, you know, we're just trying to, you know, boost the membership and all this. $1 a month is all it's, or $10 for a year, like when you do the Patreon like $10 for the show as you like it in the most important year of the show. And the people who are like, sorry man, can't do it, or the like sarcastic ones who are like, bye then, it's been fun. And I'm just like, you know, and I remember talking to Laura about it, and she had said like she likes reality shows and stuff, and she had said, you know, when sometimes these places will like put their stuff behind a paywall, I'll be like, I'll just listen to this other Housewives of New York recap show. Because it's like there's like dozens of them. Right. The Trump podcast is a one of one, and there is nobody. And I said this to a friend recently, and it's in a way kind of classic JL arrogance, but at the same time I was kind of being introspective about it. I said, I think I have a claim that I never thought I'd really have, which is to say, I think I do something better than anybody on the planet. Like. When you combine the voice, the improv, the depth of sort of resources, the comedic timing, and the show is a showcase of that. And it's been very strange kind of reaching. And when I see this guy on the White House Correspondents' Dinner and other people, I like the guy on SNL. I think he's good. But most of them I go, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much equity you build up with a lot of these fans. It doesn't matter how accurate or specific or like nuanced your stuff is. The average person will just go, I can't do an impression, and he's doing an okay impression, so I love that impression. And that would be like a basketball fan saying, I think Jokic and Mitchell Robinson are like basically like the two best basketball players. That's not saying Mitchell Robinson is bad, but like you have no clue. And if you're Jokic or Jokic's agent or Jokic's teammates and you hear that, you're like, oh man, Jokic has to go for 60 on this guy. This is what is this ridiculousness? And there's like a guy on TikTok, which I laugh at, who's got like, 400,000 followers, and he's blown up because he does a lot of stuff at the trial. He dresses up and like goes down to the courthouse. when I say I destroyed this dude in a contest in 2016, I felt bad. There, it was almost like you wanted to tell him to like throw in the towel, like Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali in like 80, where I was like, we don't have to do this. It doesn't have to be this much of a beatdown. It's just comedy.
Right.
But he's blowing up because it's like, that's been, of all the things that have depressed me about this, from Sarah Cooper to present, it's just kind of like, I'm not asking for the world, but it's like I got lumped in with such clearly inferior products on this thing, and it didn't matter. People like it, and it was very frustrating because obviously there are people who know how good my stuff is and appreciate it and like it, and I'm thankful for them. But it's hard to ignore the like hundreds of thousands of dollars and promotion and exposure that's been left on the table because great and okay get like lumped together by most people.
I always feel like impressions, there's two types of laughs at impressions, and there's the, oh my God, this is such a good impression. It's like sometimes a good impression is almost beyond comedy. Like it's almost not funny. It's so, you're like, God damn, this is just, it's like this person's in the room. And then there's like, and I think this encapsulates most impressions. There's like you're attempting to make me laugh by working hard to make this impression. Like it's not, like it's more like I'm laughing at the attempt. You're trying to be silly. You're trying to do a joke. Because I always feel like all my impressions are just, it's funny that I tried it. I've never thought they were good. I just was like, wouldn't it, like this is a funny version of Stephen A to me. But if I listen to Stephen A and listen to me, I'd be like, yeah, obviously it's not the same. Except for Floyd Mayweather. I think my Floyd Mayweather was real close.
Oh no.
But in general, I mean, although it's very limited, it's Floyd Mayweather trying to read. It's not any. I don't think I could do anything more than that with Floyd. But my point being, like, I think when it fought for a lot of people, because that 10% gap is such a, to those that aren't comedy like knowledgeable,
right?
It's such a, to them it doesn't matter. Like they're just they're like, oh, he put on a wig and a suit, and that guy's moving his hands kind of like Trump, and he's making a face, and so that to me that is as funny as listening to this podcast and JL Covan is doing Trump. To the point where
for 45 minutes a week, like just a sit-down interview every week.
And to the point where he's literally predicted things Trump has said, like to the word, where like JL will make a joke on the show, and I'll laugh at the joke at the time because I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. And then like 2 days later or something, Trump's doing a press conference and he says that shit verbatim, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot less funny now. But also fucking amazing.
And also what I realized over the years, JL, is like the mass public who, a lot of people don't respect comedy. And so when they're coming into a space, they're not respecting the work, they're not respecting the art, they're not respecting the craft. And for a lot of people, they go, if you can make me giggle, it's comedy. Like they're not actually looking at the depth of the comedy and how it's presented or anything like that. So for a lot of those people, they can't, not trying fun, they can't tell them between good comedy and or bad comedy.
Right.
For a lot of people, they associate comedies with being drunk and sitting in the club. They're not really not trying to be funny where you're not really there and paying attention. Versus for me, if I go to a comedy club, I'm like, oh, I come because I know that you created something. I respect the art, and I want you to quote unquote make me laugh. A lot of people are going, well, I guess I go to this shitty ass comedy club to see if a joke is going to happen type of thing. And so, and also I think a lot of people consume comedy that actually don't like comedy and aren't comedy fans and don't understand the concept of comedy. So when you mix all those people together, that's the kind of end result.
Agreed. It's distraction versus appreciation. Like I think the majority of people now, comedy is a distraction. So as long as you distract me from boredom or like waiting in a doctor's office, you're good comedy.
Right.
And and somebody was saying, Lakita was saying that they like the white guys are getting the parts. And that's where the true art of JL comes in, which is sorry about this. No, private caller, not picking up. Which is
that was the black side of jail kicking in.
That might be true, except that in 2020, when I was blowing up, the amount of progressives, maybe basking in George Floyd, glory, would tell me, they would say like, Sarah Cooper, and you were great. And I go, okay. I'm doing an impression though, or people would say you're copying her. And I'm like, but I'm not. And a guy, I remember, and I think I said this on Half Blackface, but I had multiple people say it, but one guy was like blunt about it. He was like, but you have to admit, it's funnier when a black woman is making fun of Trump. And I said, I'm half Haitian. Trump said Haiti's a shithole country. Am I funnier now? Because it's like I'm getting revenge on Trump for his comments about my father's homeland. And he had no answer for that because it's not true. It's not true, but it's like, and I joke about it where it's like, these progressives who elevated certain, I'm not enough of a douchebag or a sellout to ever rise in the right-wing sphere.
Right.
Because I've watched Gutfeld sometimes as more of a comedy anthropologist. And I know some people who've gone on that show who are funny stand-up comedians. And I am shocked, forget politics. That shit is offensive to good comedy. It's bad comedy. And there's nobody who ever makes a joke about Trump. So it's not this, it's very much a comedy show where we're going to tell mediocre jokes and quips only about the left. That should offend, like any of these comics who are like, speech and comedy's comedy, bro. They check that shit at the door when they go get that Gutfeld check. I don't have that in me because what the fuck is the point of doing comedy? I'll write for a show and do what they want. That's a fun job. That's a job that uses my skills. But for my comedy is going to be my comedy, win or lose.
Yes.
And so on the right, that's what you get. There is a clear sellout path on the right. I see centrist people tipping that way. There's a lot of money to be had there. Yes. But on the left, I have been, I hate to say a victim of it, but it was this kind of thing like this, we need to prove our goodness first. That's why I say on Half Blackface, like you look at my face, you don't feel like an ally when you laugh at my comedy. You just laugh because it's funny.
It's a hierarchy.
Right. And it's so you get sort of stuck in the middle of like, well, I'm not going one way because that would be selling out my comedy. But I'd also kind of be selling out my comedy if I try to make an agenda and become a part of the resistance, like on purpose. Like, so it's that was what was so crazy in 2020 though, when I just felt like, wait, I'm actually like these progressive people, like they can't just be like, wow, you're so funny. It's got to be like, there had to be like some bonus for that.
I think because of social media, comedy and all our content has become, what does our content say about us? Like, what is the thing that I'm consuming say about me? So like,
and I don't view comedy like that.
Yeah, I think especially with comedy, it took another level of just like the comedians I like should only say things that I agree with. So even politically or morally or whatever, I can't even laugh at the idea of you being wrong. And it really lost the plot with me when it started being comedians who the bit would be, I was wrong. Everyone has these bits of like, oh man, Dave Chappelle's famous one, or I guess famous to me, is you ever catch yourself rooting against yourself? And he talks about how he was racist. Someone was like, Santa Claus could be black. And he was like, no, he can't be black. Santa Claus, y'all imagine Santa Claus is black. He's going to be late, showing up for Christmas the next day. All this, like stereotypical shit. I'm not saying it's like the greatest joke.
Right.
But like the conceit of the bit is he's wrong to have these thoughts. He's just expressing wrong thoughts that we can all laugh at. And then at some point, like, I don't know if it's Tumblr or what, but everyone just decided like, that means you're a bad person. There's nothing funny about that. And it's like, well, I don't accept that premise, number one. But number two, this is about you. You're saying I would never laugh at the idea of a black Santa Claus being late because it's stereotypical, because those are negative stereotypes. Black, I'm like, well, I didn't come to the comedy club for that.
Yes. And also you making me think about something else. When it comes to comedy, a lot of people feel that way, and they feel that way about quote unquote punching up and punching down. This is why a lot of people harp on you can't punch up, quote unquote, you can't punch down, because they feel like they wouldn't do that. But when it comes to quote unquote comedy, it's comedy, and it's called a punch line for a reason. Somebody's going to get punched. And so it's one of those things for me. I'm like, anything could be funny if it's presented in the right way. Now, there are some things that's presented that are not funny. Everybody has their lines that varies all over the place. But I allow the comedian to have that freedom to express it. And then I'll go through the thought process to be like, haha, that's fucked up. But that shit was funny. I don't agree with that, but that shit is fucking hilarious.
And I think that's where the shift happened. And also that's why you see comedians falling into the two camps. It's the
right.
I don't have to be funny if I go over here to these Republicans, but they'll always laugh and they'll always give me my money, and they'll just like that they have another one to count amongst their group. Like, oh look, we got another comedian coming over here. It counts. And then if you go too far to the left, it's I'm not gonna try to be funny because I'm scared that there's gonna be a consequence of being too funny in a way that like is edgy or something, or just pisses off the wrong group or whatever. So I'm just gonna go over here and say everything y'all agree with, and we'll just all get out of here. You know, I know JL's a fan of this guy, but it's why I didn't really like Bill Maher's stand up, because I used to always feel like, well, it's funny because I agree. It's not funny because I'm like, oh fuck, never thought of that. No one could have made that joke. But now it feels like a lot of comedies like that, at least.
Well, Bill Maher is a good example to me of somebody who's literally done both of these things, because his comedy, I liked his show for a long time, and I still watch it the way I used to listen to Corolla. The line has shifted for me now. Bill Maher, I agree with him less, but I'm like, this is like some of that libertarian and right-wing information that I can stomach, like I can, and at least hear some different stuff. But his stand-up, I was never like that big a fan of, because I always felt like I took my mom to see him because she's a fan and she doesn't go to any clubs. She doesn't watch stand-up. So like, she wasn't going to watch his stand-up and be like, I've heard this all on Twitter and like from comedians like months ago. But for me, I was like, well, I'm here for my mom. This is like somebody who you realize 90% of your material is kind of, when you're doing political material, you better either have the most unique perspective or banging it out weekly, like on a weekly show. You can't do like every other year a stand-up special that's all political, because it's done. But now he's veered into this, and I think it is, and you've talked about this, some of it has to be calculated. I think he believes some of it, but some of it has to be calculated, because he's got Robert Kennedy Jr. on his show, and he's talking about Israel and Palestine, hot takes on that, and of course it's gonna blow up. But he feels now like he's leaning into that. I think Sage Steele was like his first podcast sign up for his network. He's leaning extra into that. Yeah, it kind of feels good. Like they thought I was just some liberal Trump bashing guy. Now they're gaining respect for me, and now like that feels good. Like he's old and he's finding like a new angle and a new audience. So he's getting probably a whatever it is, serotonin boost from like, oh, new fans. Oh, they like this new perspective. I'll lean into that. So if somebody who's a millionaire, famous comedian for 40 years can be susceptible to that, obviously some open mic person with a chance to open for Roseanne Barr is going to be like, hell yeah, I hate immigrants.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is almost like whatever it takes. And then you have comedians that, like Roger said, you're not on the right, you're not on the left, you're somewhere in the middle. And for a lot of those comedians, they'll feel like a lot of their freedom in comedy is being literally just stripped away from them, and they'll start complaining because they're like, hey, the fuck is this?
Well, here's the thing I will say, though, because as a person that still watches a lot of comedy specials, I mean, there's a lot of people doing work out there, like that's not placating to one side or the other. That's just kind of like, and I'm not even saying it's like revolutionary great work, but I just I have an appreciation now for the guys who just like go out and try to be funny. And like I have an appreciation now that I didn't have a few years ago, because I've seen now the pitfalls of so many comedians being like, it's safer and not to almost bring it full circle to like some of the first stuff I ever heard JL Covan talk about. I feel like this is the ultimate extension of what you used to write about, how the middle act went away. And so the economic realities of comedy became either you can afford to do comedy because you're losing money, so you just got, or you can't afford to do comedy. You got to figure the way to the money and headlining as fast as fucking possible, because it's just not a reality. Comedy wages have not increased, and they have not met the cost of living.
Right.
And so when you got guys still paying people the wages that they were getting paid in the 90s, and it's 2024,
right,
at some point you got to make a decision economically. And I think maybe that's what we're seeing. I'm just literally thinking about it as we're talking, but maybe we're seeing the ultimate, like, especially after the pandemic, which sped things up, right? It sped everything up, and less people were going out to shows, more people were consuming it online. Online is extremely polarizing. It's not like a comedy club. A comedy club, you can go in, not agree with the person, but you're kind of just there to see what they're gonna do. You know, it's not online is completely the opposite. If I don't agree, I won't let it be funny. If I do agree, I won't let it not be funny, like Sarah Cooper, right? So it's kind of I think the ultimate result of what you were talking about, because now to play it safe, you just go to the one extreme or the other, because those guys will make sure you get a career. Like that's your best chance of having a career, is to go to one side or the other, unless you're these older established guys that have a fan base,
right,
who have like some money and they can just kind of put out their thing. I just watched Neil Brennan's special. I thought it was pretty good. Jim Gaffigan had a good special. Like, it's like there's just certain guys now that I think can afford to be like, I'm gonna be in the middle, or I'm gonna take some risk, and I'm not really gonna please anybody's like politics, but I hopefully please everybody's funny bone.
Right.
And I think maybe that's where we're at in the game right now.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say on this, before, although I think people are liking the comedy talk, is like, I have a buddy, Lou Perez, who's a libertarian, but like a real libertarian. Like, I genuinely, like, I have seen him mock both sides. Like, he isn't a Republican who just doesn't want to be branded a Republican, so he comes up with this alternative title. But he wrote a book called That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore. And I remember reading it and for the most part really liking it. And he got to a part where he was like, I voted for Obama in 2008, but then because of drone issues he voted third party in 2012. But he had these jokes in that chapter about Obama, like, and I'm paraphrasing, but like a joke that was like, I think he's probably the coolest guy to ever like bomb a wedding in the Middle East. And I'm reading it and I'm feeling myself kind of go, man, why is he going there? And then I was like, wait, that's still a joke. That's still, it doesn't agree with my politics. That is a joke about Obama. Like, it's, you may not like it, but that is a joke. And it's kind of, if it was about somebody else you didn't like, it'd be kind of a funny joke. And I found myself going like, oh, okay. That's what I'm asking people to do on maybe a lower level. But this idea of like, it doesn't have to be your cup of tea, but this idea that jokes aren't funny because you don't agree with them is like, we've gotten into that space. And with all my recent love of hockey, because I needed a new hobby, the Jazz basically drove me into like becoming a super hockey fan over the last 2 years.
Which makes sense. I think the leap from Jazz, the top Jazz fan to hockey fan, is much smaller than people think.
Whitest basketball fan base to most urban hockey fan base is like a difference of like 9 black people.
Same amount of firefighters and cops at both games.
But that, like, the thing about like, I'm working on like a 10 or 12 minute hockey bit, because to me it's like America, like comedy. I sit around these games, I watch these games, I go, I really like this game. I really don't like a lot of the people I'm surrounded by. Like, why is that? Like, you don't have to know the politics of a room that when like the NYPD gets like an equally big cheer as the Rangers, that you're in a weird space. You know, and it's things like the national anthem where, you know, if Colin Kaepernick kneels during the national anthem, oh my God, you disrespectful, you know what?
Right.
But when these dudes are yelling, let's fucking go, Rangers, in the middle of the anthem, that's respectful to the troops.
Right.
Like screaming over the anthem, trying to get yourself heard during like a quiet moment. Like, let's go, Rangers! And the behavior I have seen and the attitude and the fairly monochromatic audience and the, like, you know, devil's triangle these fans have with the FDNY and NYPD, where they're like, yeah, Irish guys beating up black dudes, yeah. I'm sitting there going like, this is gross. How do I get to enjoy, like, do you know what I mean? It becomes one of these things where it's like, and I feel like that's such a microcosm for like America. It makes me think of like my dad never became a citizen. And I remember somebody saying to me like, your dad isn't a citizen. Why? I was like, because he doesn't want to be. He likes America, but he has pride in where he's from and he feels no need for a new citizenship. Just like if somebody wants it, that's their choice and they can have that thing. And I look around a hockey game and I go, I kind of get it, Dad. I kind of get like, you like what this is about, but maybe you don't want to be.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to get like a season ticket holder thing to Rangers because now I got to admit some things about myself that I don't want to admit. So maybe like a half season package.
Right.
And I'm just like 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door. I'm not one of you guys. Calm down, bro.
Yeah. And also depend on where you're coming from when it comes to citizenship, which I didn't know this. Some countries you have to renounce where you came from to become an American citizen.
But do you have to do that with Haiti? Because your dad was from Haiti, right?
I don't know, but it was never even a thought for him. Like, so yeah, but it's just it made me think of that because
hold on, I got a quick question about the Rangers. Where did the name come from? Were they like the Texas Rangers and moved or something?
Right?
No, I have no idea. I mean, they've been in the league since 1926.
Even that name sounds like people that like law enforcement.
Yeah,
well, they were originally the Negro Wranglers, and then they changed it to the New York Rangers to be more.
You know what? I actually that's 100%.
That's 100% facts. No need to Google or look that up.
I think I may write that as like a fake blog just to see the response I get. Where it's like, I've done the research. I'm a history scholar from Williams College, and it turns out the original name. And they have like the Rangers, they have one black dude on the team, Keandre Miller, who I think is half white, half black. But that's the jersey I want to get, but he's a free agent after this year. So obviously, and his number is 79, which is the year I was born. So I'm like, that works perfectly. But I know if I buy it now,
he definitely moved.
He's signing somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you on that, man. Also, your special just dropped on Amazon Prime. So if people have Amazon streaming, the Amazon Prime, they can check it out for the cost of what they're already paying, which basically means it's free.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to. This is a special announcement for all of Black Guy Who Tips Nation. It's a great special, and if you have Amazon Prime, it's free, or you can do a 30-day free trial and get access to it, so it won't cost you anything. But between the emergency dental work and the legal fees that I am currently paying related to this very special, all views are greatly appreciated, and spreading the word and sharing it on social media and reviewing it on Amazon. It's all, this is it is, I may sound like a broken record, but is there anything more on brand than my greatest special costing me the most money and career opportunities?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, honestly, it's like we're living in a sitcom or some season of something on HBO where it's just like,
are you Larry? You don't know you Larry?
Kill my enthusiasm.
burn your enthusiasm. It's just honestly, man, like anytime I'm feeling a little too upbeat, where I'm like, I think things are finally working out for OJL there. I'm tuning in to the shows and I'm hearing some good news, and it's just like a toothache in the night. That is just your infection in your gums. It's just out of nowhere. And I do remember you talking about maybe having to take legal recourse and all this stuff at one point, but it sounded like maybe it got worked out, and I was like, okay, I guess it's fine now, or they figured something out. And then I was listening to the show a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, so it's definitely gonna have to go to court. And it's like, god damn.
Yeah, and it's one of them things where I was like, this shit took 45 goddamn years. I didn't think this shit was ever gonna come out. I was like, I want to hear JL's stuff. Y'all was fucking it up for me.
Yeah.
Curb stomp your enthusiasm. I like that. Oh, title. That sounds like a potential title.
I'm writing that down. Curb stomp your enthusiasm. Shout out to my man B Black.
Now, if this doesn't settle, and I'm not going to give away any discussions I've had. But if it doesn't settle, there's always a chance, that I could have to head to North Carolina at a later date. So then we can put together like a fundraising show.
JL, please.
Yes.
Get some t-shirts made up. Free JL.
Blumenthal Performing Arts Center. Yes, we'll streamline everything, JL. We got you covered.
For one night only, we hope. I don't know, guys. We're making plans, but who fucking knows?
This might be a marathon. We don't know.
The plane might crash on his way here, but if it all goes right, I'm gonna get him out of this problem, man. So I hope that does work out for you, man. I've told you before, the special is so good. It really.
And for anybody who didn't like, the album and the special are different. Like, so in case anybody's like heard the album, the special has like 20 to 25 different minutes.
Yes.
So you don't think like you'd be repeating the whole thing.
I've listened to the album and I watched the special, and I mean, it's every bit as good as you said. I don't say that lightly. There's some, I think there's been some really good specials this year. People finally kind of stepping it back up post-pandemic, quote unquote.
Brian Simpson, who we both talked about. That is my favorite non-JL special of the year so far. And that's an example of a guy who, if you told me, I didn't learn until I think after I watched it, when either you said it or somebody said it, that he like opens for Rogan.
Yep.
And I would have thought, oh, okay, so is this going to be one of these dudes who's like, black people be fucking up all the time, right? Like, you're not racist. Like, we're cool. Why can't we be cool?
Yes.
I thought this dude was a killer. It actually made me respect Rogan a little bit, because I go, okay, so Rogan's putting the comedy first. All right.
Right. I was thinking like, damn, you letting him open for you? Because that's dangerous. Because, I mean, you got to, I guess at this point of your Rogan, your crowd is so Rogan.
They don't care.
Yeah, you literally can't bomb, but like putting a killer before you with that's some balls, because like
that guy is a better stand-up comic than Joe Rogan has ever been. Like that Netflix special is so strong and like so refreshing, because it's just like, here is a great special with no agenda, but like a point of view and great originality. I mean, they used a great preview when and I'll say it only because it was the preview, but when he said, he was talking about black people joining the army, not really for patriotism. Like, I like the country. I love the country, but I'm not in love with the country. And then he said, I joined in May of 2001. So 9/11 was like my 9/11. That is as good a joke as you'll hear.
Yes,
it's incredible.
And like good twists and turns to the comedy and the perspective. Like I was a little nervous at first, because he does the thing where he acknowledges like racism and white people are in the room right away, and I was like, oh, is he going for the soul bounce? But he didn't really.
Not at all.
Like, I was very impressed, and for that to be at least as I know it, his first special, that feels like a guy who waited to be good enough to put out like he wasn't all right, it's time, I need to let's
make some content. We got to we got to feed the but I think that's an example also of a guy who probably is very comfortable. If you're opening for Rogan, you are living a good life. Like he's probably giving you a lot of money per show. You have a lot of opportunities. So that's what I always question, whether it's somebody like a Jay Farrow or Nick Cannon putting out like a bad special. I go, but why? You have all this money and opportunity and like other things. And also the people who don't kind of push themselves, but like, this is the way I would, like, if I didn't need money and wasn't maybe just like always pouring out ideas, I'd love to have the comfort to just go, 2028 will be my next thing. And I'm going to really, really marinate on all this stuff.
But yeah, I enjoyed that as well. Now you listen to the show all the time, so I want to get into some other topics with you.
Yes, sir.
As well. Make sure y'all check out Half Blackface, Amazon Prime. I know y'all got it because y'all got y'all all get the next day shipping.
If you're so inclined, obviously streaming or buying my older albums, much appreciated. Everything is on my website, the store page. So
JLComedy.com is the website. JL Comedy will be in the show notes as well, guys. All right, let's play some music so we can get paid for this whole thing we've been doing up front, and then we'll come back and talk some news.
Psycho music. That's nasty.
All right, let's talk about news. I think biggest Black Twitter news kind of was Amanda Seales went on the Shannon Sharpe Club Shay Shay show, and it was 3 hours of just it was 3 hours of like if JL gave all his gripes with comedy, but then was like, and I played no role in any of it. Like, I don't remember tweeting at this guy. I never made a joke about this comedian that pissed him off. I don't, they just got mad for no fucking reason. It's kind of like that. And so there's this one clip that I saw that I thought was really interesting, and I'll share it with everybody. I just remembered I got to put it in a different browser because it fucking hates Chrome.
It does.
But there's this clip where she talked about working on the set of Insecure and how she got in trouble working on Insecure because she called someone the N-word.
On Truth. Shannon, I got in trouble for saying nigga on Insecure. I got in trouble for telling a brother he was a revolutionary nigga. In trouble. Like literally got pulled aside and was told, we need to talk about the incident that you had.
I guess when you're in corporate, you got to keep it corporate, man.
We say nigga on the show. We say nigga all day on this motherfucking show. And
why fucking is blanked out, but not nigga is funny to me.
Right.
But
I love shit. I have only watched the clips.
Yeah.
I love the Shannon Sharpe of just like, I'm just like, he's like a detective where the perpetrator has waived their right to an attorney, and he's just like, I'm just gonna sit here and let you keep talking while we tape this. You will bury yourself.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's also funny too because he's doing his damnedest to like stay in his lane, because I don't think Shannon necessarily is a race guy. He, if anything, he's like the opposite of a race guy. There's another segment where she talks about racist kids when she was growing up and white kids calling her racial slurs. And he does his best to be like, but how much of that is just because they kids and they don't understand, like they parents understand, but they don't understand. She's like, if I can understand as a Black child what they were doing to me, then they have to understand what they're doing. Like, it can't be, well, only a Black kid can understand what being called the N-word is gonna, like, no, the person saying it also knows there's gonna be some effect, right? Even if it's not the same level of understanding as like a grown-ass adult, it's some level of understanding of hurting. It's like if a kid was picking on someone for being fat, maybe they don't know the same as, like, it's not the same as Stephen A. Smith, but it is intended to hurt that kid's feelings for being fat, right? He could not understand this. So I think there's that part of it too, where he's like, it's not just that he's like, go on. It's also like you said that, not me. I don't call people nigga at work, but if that's a thing you like to do, that maybe you understand in a way I don't.
Skip.
Also, like, why the fuck? You do understand this is the job of acting. Just because something's in the script does not mean it's when you're off script and just living life and on set, you can just do that shit. It's like if a movie.
Our boy Alan Tudyk in 42 off camera was like Chadwick.
Chadwick, let me holler at you real quick. Yeah, like what's that show that everyone likes that has Rue in it and she's on drugs?
Euphoria.
Yeah, you can't just be fucking. You know, like it's not. It's like, well, look, we fuck a lot on the show, so I went to the craft services table and I banged a couple PAs. What's the fucking problem? Yeah, we did cocaine. We did cocaine off of somebody's titties. I don't see if it's in the script. What's this guy that's a cameraman? What's his deal? But back to her.
It was a black woman who pulled me to the side. And this brother is
now all the black people aren't black enough. That quick. That quick. It went from like we were on the set of the black and this brother in quotes, you can hear it.
Added from the neck down, eating edibles on set from Detroit. I mean, that's nigga.
It's a bunch of stereotypes, but
right.
Also why all of a sudden now is it like, well, listen, you a black person, you had face tattoos. Clearly, I should be able to call you a nigga. That's just, you just need to accept it. That's your lot in life.
She went from Nino Brown, Ms. Hawkins, to like Donald Trump saying, "Where are my African American?" Like in the same sentence, she had like the same.
Right. If any white
180
person,
difference.
If any white person would have used these stereotypes to justify like treating someone a certain, we'd be like, that's racist as fuck. But she's like, no, I'm so right that I can say it.
But I had said to him, because there was like a Malcolm X quote in my trailer, and he sets my trailer, my clothes in my trailer. Right. So I came to him, I was like, hey, did you leave that Malcolm X quote in my trailer? And he was like, nah. I was like, damn, you the only revolutionary nigga around here. He was like, I'm not a nigga. And I said, okay, I get it. Who said that? And I kept it moving. Yeah. This was the incident. So she's like, we need to talk about the incident. And I said, well,
what incident?
What incident? Well, when you just referred to him as a nigga. And so actually, I referred to him as a revolutionary nigga. It was a compliment.
Right.
Yeah, but when he said he's not.
Oh, well, that's okay then. Like, you know what else is in the script a lot on Insecure? Bitch. Bitch is in the script a lot. If the dude that played Lawrence was calling people bitch outside,
it would be a problem.
He got pulled to the side. It's like, you got to understand, like, and then also just on a respect level, I say nigga a lot. But if someone tells me not to call him that, it's not a problem to me. Because it's about respect. I respect your space. I respect that thing. I always say this about pronouns too, when people get like caught up on like the right and wrong of it and all this. I'm like, but on a basic human being level, if someone asks me to like, hey, can you call me she? It don't even require you doing like transgender studies 401 senior course level PhD. It don't even require that. Just on a respect level. And if you want to get even more cynical, I just don't want no hassle level.
Right.
Because there's also that, like, you're at work. I just don't want no hassle. Okay, you don't like being called the N-word. I apologize, brother. I'm sorry about that. I did not realize that. And do you move on with your day? Instead, it's just like, too bad for you. And it wouldn't be so bad if her 3 hours wasn't just all of her gripes with everyone who's ever done anything that she did not like. She took it personal and it was their fault and it was intentional and they fucked up and they owe her. And here's the example where the shoe is literally on the other foot and she's explaining it as if still this was done to me. And she goes further than this in the last like 30 40
I was gonna say before you play, I was just gonna say because if this is how it happened and this was the first time she heard this person not wanting this, then I could see her having an issue being like, okay, I didn't do it again. I just, you know, but
yeah. Well, she gonna get into it.
I mean, nigga, you didn't take it back. I said, like, you mean like take backsies? I mean, where we at? And she was like, well, I said, but we literally say nigga on this show. Like, literally. She's like, well, you're going to need to apologize to him. But this is the action of like, you need to bow down. People are always trying to get me to like apologize for some shit I didn't do wrong, right, because they feel like I'm too haughty. They feel I'm too sure of myself. They feel like I need to be cut down to size all the time. And the unfortunate part of that is that it's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of them.
Right.
And so that's the end of that clip. So, like I said, it went even further because by the end, it's like, oh, they did this to me to humble me. It's like no one did a thing. You did a thing. Like you did a thing and someone didn't like it. And you're like, well, it can't be because you genuinely feel that I wronged you or that I was out of line, because I could never be out of line. I could never be wrong. Everyone else is wrong. And
could I be her like anti-industry pastor where she comes to me for guidance on how to scale this back to like not go 100%, but maybe just 70% of the way?
I don't think she does 70. I think she does.
No, I don't either.
On everything, but yeah, it's just interesting that because I think at least in my online spaces, which are very much like pro-black, try to be very supportive of women and stuff, it's been like a weird time to watch people kind of try to rationalize and then other people like call them out, because within the industry there's a lot of people that have had bad dealings with her, and many of them being other Black women. And at one point she like calls out Issa Rae and stuff, so like she's calling out some people that people actually love and fuck with and that have done good in the community and done right by everyone else except according to her, you know, like I'll still remember the final special after Insecure aired. They did this like wrap up thing of where they had been doing a documentary on the series for like X amount of seasons so that they could, and the whole thing was just everyone on the timeline gushing over Issa Rae because she was literally empowering people throughout the process and being like, oh, this person was a PA. They ended up being a writer and an actor on the show. Mm-hmm. Oh, this person was a writer. They ended up being one of the stars of the show, like Kelly. And it was really good because it was body positivity and all this. And so then to try to like one person goes on the air that has a problem with every single body in the world, and it's the common denominator in all these problems is like, but I'm the one telling the truth about Issa Rae. The rest of y'all are fooled. She didn't protect me. And I'll just say one more thing about it too, because I remember at the time being very, I was very much paying attention to this when Amanda Seales got kicked out or didn't get let into this Oscar party that Issa Rae's agent or somebody was hosting.
Yeah, she didn't even host. Issa Rae wasn't even hosting it, right?
But she didn't get put it, so she went Instagram live and cried on the curb and made it all, you know, like this is a plot against me somehow. All I do is try to help Black people, and even though we can't name or find any of the Black people that have been helped, she's like, all I do is help Black people, and they're trying to destroy me, these other Black people and stuff. Issa Rae went on Amanda Seales' podcast after that. It was the podcast is called Small Doses. I listened to the episode. I don't know if it's still up or not, but I listened to that episode, and for her to say Issa Rae didn't protect me and didn't do anything for me, it's kind of sad because she went on that show and provided her, in my opinion, a lot of grace and cover that I would not have. You know what I mean? Like she went on there and was like, hey, we're both bosses and things get a little miscommunicated and stuff, but we love each other and we love working with each other and you cool with me and blah, blah, blah. And I guess now having the experiences I've had, I'm like, oh no, you don't help that scorpion cross the river. You do not, you're going to get stung. And lo and behold, 2024, she got stung trying to help because she could have been like, listen, you're wrapped on Insecure or whatever the fuck. You're just an actor there. Play your role. And it's over. Peace. Like I'm gonna go be Issa Rae and do other Issa Rae shit. I don't need to be friends with you or to make you look good. you weren't letting that party for a fucking reason. There's a reason that after that happened, many people on the show, or there were people on the show that were putting stuff out, subtweeting and shit about you. That it wasn't nothing positive. No one was like, oh, they did my girl wrong, we need to get her in here. There's a reason for that, and it's not because you're so pro-black. So that was a big deal. And she kind of did Issa wrong. And the other thing she did was she said that she self-diagnosed herself with autism, and that's why people don't really like her now, is in addition to her being super pro-black.
Right. And she didn't want to deal with people going, but you actually get a test on this, dog.
It's a weird one because one, I don't think some of the stuff she's described is necessarily autism. Like some of this stuff is like we know autistic people, and I know it's not the same for everybody, but it's not like, oh, well, clearly you called him a nigga for autism. Like that's not what happened there. But the other part of it is she lied. Like when she was asked, did she get it diagnosed by Shannon Sharpe, she called it deflection, but she lied and said, yeah, I did. And then when she went on Instagram later, she went, oh no, I looked it up and I realized that's what I have, and I can't get the test, it costs too much or whatever. So I know I got it. And then of course everyone that reported it, she got mad at, turned off the comments, and kept making videos. So like I don't know if she's done like freaking out on IG over it, but it's just been like a bad look. She's the first person that went on that show that truly came out looking worse, because everybody else, since Shannon's not going to challenge you and you get to say whatever you want, everybody else, for the most part, people just kind of have their back. Even when they are wrong, like Cat Williams was lying about shit. I think Monique spun some shit. But for her, she's the first one that I've really seen drop it and then try to control the narrative. Like she's online arguing with people when Cat Williams just said what he said and was like, fuck it, if they don't believe it, it don't matter to me. It's time to go on tour.
Don't matter.
Is she going to be the next Stacey Dash? Is the next pivot to just sort of calling back to our comedy discussion to become sort of like a former Hollywood star tells the truth about anti-black people in Hollywood?
I would say no, but I also don't know. But I would say no because I think she's built a lane of saying I'm so pro-black.
Right.
That she can't. I don't even know what she would find a fan base of. I mean, I know there's always white people willing to.
There's always Republicans who love. Yeah, they will love a pretty black woman who comes out.
It would cost her more than a Stacey Dash, because Stacey Dash never built inroads in the community like this. Like she does a lot of like, even if it's like basic shit, but it's like a lot of like, I'm calling out this racist thing that we all. So like to then flip that into like. I'm on Fox News. Y'all check me out, Fox Nation tonight. It would be real. It would be real jarring for her people. And she still does have some support. Like I think there's some people that are, it's this thing we have now. It's almost like everything stan culture. So she said it, I have to defend it. She's good in my book. How there's the if a man said it type of shit, which is always weird. Because it's always like, so you're admitting that the men were wrong when people supported that bullshit. Yes, but why can't a woman be wrong? Oh, yes, equality. That's what we need. So yeah, it's been an interesting week or whatever. And also in other news, Jerry Seinfeld keeping it comedy.
What about him?
He said he isn't worried about political correctness.
Okay.
During his comedy routines. Political correctness is something of a worry for people who can't think, he told Page Six in a recent interview. Because of that, they make stupid mistakes that are offensive, and the Seinfeld alum explained. He suggests pick up a paper, find out what's going on, and just navigate around it. Seinfeld, whose love of cereal was well documented in Seinfeld, offered that advice while promoting Unfrosted, a movie inspired by the 1963 race between Kellogg's and Post to create a pastry that would change the face of breakfast forever. Hey, we're running out of content, just as an aside. Didn't we just have a Hot Cheetos fucking movie?
We did.
Or some shit?
Yeah, we did. From the man who invented Cheetos. Yes, we did.
We had a Tetris movie. Shit is getting weird.
We did.
This shit is getting weird. We're at peak content now. It's like some studio execs just like in like looking at scripts or whatever, and it's like whole wheat tortillas. Let's get Christopher Nolan on the line. All right. I think we got a hit.
The inventor of rye bread. We got to get on this shit.
Have you seen
it's gonna be all this shit.
Have you seen Pixar's new movie Rice? What the fuck? We're down
rice.
to nothing.
Yes, it's about rice. All the characters are grains of rice.
Yeah. Oh, wait till Wild Rice shows up. We're gonna have Tracy Morgan play Wild Rice. The movie came out because Pop-Tarts just kind of stuck out. He recalled there's like a few things I remember from childhood. I was like, wow, I can't believe they're giving us that Pop-Tarts crazy food. I remember. Didn't relate to any product, blah, blah, blah. The rest is about the movie. Here's the thing I want to say, though. And, JR, I wonder how you feel about this. Because Seinfeld's pretty documented as being, like, kind of, like, he's kind of like these college kids are too sensitive and then, but am I tripping? His act has none of this in it.
Nope.
I don't understand why he is even playing in this field. Like,
you're not offending nobody. You're not saying anything that possibly could offend nobody. You're not crossing nobody's lines. Like
this is like when I was in Philly to watch the Jazz play the Sixers this year, and I saw a big like a poster for Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist comedian was coming to perform there in like 2 months. And I think the title of his tour was Still Not Canceled. And I was like, dude, you do hack bullshit with puppets.
Right.
Like, and to me, the cancel, I'm not saying this for Seinfeld, but what a lot of now cancel is becoming like a cultural signal.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with your act. It has to do with, oh, you're against cancel culture. Cancel culture means liberals and the communities they try to protect.
Right.
And so like I thought that was at the absurd level of like, wait, Jeff Dunham, you do hack 80s material with puppets. No one is canceling you. No one gives a shit. You're so, whereas Seinfeld, to be fair to him, because I heard him on the New Yorker podcast on Friday or Tuesday. What's today? Sunday, Friday, on Friday. And I guess he was referencing a little bit more Seinfeld, the show, like, which obviously he has a stake in protecting that reputation and its legacy. Right. And he was mentioning, I forget what plot, but there were plots and storylines that maybe wouldn't be okay today. So I don't think he necessarily is speaking for his own stand-up act, though it is weird when he brings up, like, I can't do colleges.
The college kids ain't checking for you either, old man.
Like, I think that's a mutual agreement. Like, you shouldn't want to do colleges, and colleges would probably not dig you. It's nobody's fault either way. Right. Your act is, I'm not even I wouldn't even do well at colleges, and I'm 25 years younger than Jerry Seinfeld.
Right.
So I feel like maybe he's looking at it as like an elder statesman of comedy at large, where I can, somebody, the same way I found it annoying when people were telling Todd Phillips when Joker came out, in 2019, and he said, I don't think I can even do comedies anymore. Now you can disagree with him, but I'm like, but the dude who did The Hangover and Old School has a voice in comedy. Like, you don't make two of the most successful, best comedies of the last 20 years and then not get to have an opinion on comedy. So I think Seinfeld is due his opinion and his respect for both his stand-up and the show. If you
say it's about the show, I get it now. Because I was thinking about his stand-up, because he's also
but I think he's speaking on both, because he has spoken about not doing college shows. Right. And that would only be stand-up. It's not like he's airing Seinfeld episodes. That's weird, because I'm like, hey, if you're feeling it for some comedians you like who are a little more edgy and speaking for them, I get it. Jerry Seinfeld at 66 or 70 doing a college show doesn't even make sense to anybody. Right. And I don't mean that as disrespect.
Well, not just that, but also I want to add, it doesn't make sense also because he wouldn't be edgy. So it's not even like, it's like not even a battle that he's fighting where like, I'm doing this interview because when I do college shows, these fucking kids walk out. It's like, no, maybe they don't walk in, but they definitely aren't like being upset by what you're saying and leaving. And I still fuck with that show, but I take his point about the show because I have seen the revisionist history, of all the things we thought were funny growing up. People say Martin's not funny, Seinfeld wasn't funny,
right?
Friends wasn't funny, and all this shit. And it's like, I get that you guys are performing, but there's a reason those shows had ratings out the roof. Yes. There's a reason there's T-shirts with the phrases from those shows that are still sold today.
Decades later.
There's a reason that these fucking new shows where everyone looks at the camera and there's no studio audience type shit. There's a reason that these formats have changed over the years because they can't duplicate that shit. You're not going to catch that lightning in a bottle. And, but so I do understand if that's what he was saying, but yeah,
but he said both. Like he was talking about the show on the New Yorker, and I understood him much clearer there. But he has spoken about I won't do colleges, and it's like good, you shouldn't.
Yeah, what are you doing here, old man?
They don't want to hear about your 1950s Superman bit.
They're like, I'm flexible. I don't want to hear about your arthritis jokes, old man.
They've had 75 new Superman played Clark Kent since then. They don't even know what that joke's about anymore. Kristi Noem has a book that she wrote that came out, I guess, or coming out, and she's faced some political backlash online because in her book No Going Back, the truth on what's wrong with politics and how we move America forward, which always makes me wonder, like, do they get paid per the word in the title with these fucking books? What the fuck is up with political books? Why are their titles so goddamn long? It's always like 2 words, semicolon, 37 words. Like, no.
Tough stuff. My feminist yet conservative faith-based approach to bringing America back from the brink of liberal disaster.
Wrap this up. Make it 5 words or less. The fuck is this?
What's old girl? Ed Coulter has like 90 of these books. Like, Ed Coulter book titles are fucking insane. I've never obviously read one of her books.
Why liberals are destroying America, the church, family, faith, religion, and schools, and what we can do as Second Amendment warriors and prayerful people to take our country back.
Yes. True.
I'm on Amazon right now, and it's the latest one is Adios America, and it has matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all this because this is so racist. It's Adios America, but look at how they did the title with the upside down exclamation and then the right side one like it's like, like these fucking Hispanics, right? And then the left's plan to turn our country into a third world hellhole. If Democrats had any brains, they'd be Republicans. How to talk to a liberal. This is crazy. Oh my God. In Trump we trust. E pluribus awesome. Resistance. How she's more prolific than Stephen King. Resistance is futile. How the Trump hating left lost his collective mind. Like these titles, man, they are so long. But so I guess in her book, she talked about a dog she killed. The dog was like 14 months old, which I don't know much about dogs. I know they grow faster. I know it's 7 times like whatever a human is or something, like 7 dog years is like a human years plus 7. So she killed a 8-year-old. like it's still, the math doesn't make it look much better. It's 14 months seems young.
I just did, for anybody who's listening, or like on my YouTube and Twitter, like I did a 4-minute video. I think it's one of my best Trump videos ever yesterday, but about him defending her for killing the dog. But I think this is an example of like the Republicans, they can't stop themselves. They keep having to make the left an enemy, no matter how extreme. So she was blaming like the response to her dog story as like wokeness or like, and it's like, no, ma'am. You're bragging about not liking your puppy because you couldn't train it to hunt, so you killed it.
Right.
Like that's some serial killer shit. Like even the right, like it's backfired on her because even people on the right are like, we very few things are bipartisan anymore. We like dogs as well.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you murdered a dog and we're like flexing, like, right? Trigger the libs, right? And it's like, ma'am.
Also,
no.
like, this is what happens when you define everything by how angry it makes liberal people. Because know, because it's a book. It passed an editor. She wanted to tell this story.
Several rounds of writes and rewrites, right? And no period of time, nobody was like, take this shit out of here.
Because the whole point was like, when the left sees this, they're gonna be so triggered. And she never thought everyone's gonna be triggered that you killed a fucking puppy.
My neighbor's kid kept throwing a ball in my yard. So I threw him off a bridge. Sorry, libs.
I guess that's not enough DEI for you.
Right. So I shot a kid. The kid was getting on my nerves. I gave it to his little friend came. I shot him too.
The dog was called Cricket. The dog was called Cricket. And she said that the dog was nasty and mean, even though they went on a hunt. It wouldn't kill anything. It saw some chickens in her neighbor's yard. It killed some of the chickens, and she's like, it went through them one by one like a trained assassin. I went, so it has some potential.
I mean, yeah, it was like we going on a bird hunt, them birds.
Maybe it's a user error, but she said, then it almost bit me. So then I killed the dog, and I never liked that dog. And so of course, everyone has been just giving her a lot of flack for it. Now, she is still a possible running mate for Trump because he hasn't actually picked a vice president yet. I thought Tim Scott was a shoe-in, soft shoe-in for vice president, but it's looking like that might not be the case. So
nope. I don't think it will be. And Polar Goat took an L because it was being nasty too, so she shot a goat too.
Yeah, she also shot a goat. So.
She should have done the thing. She should have played, if she was watching Shogun, she would have taken a more like, he dishonored my community, and I had to. I know you haven't watched it yet, but
Shogun. Sorry to miss the reference, guys. My fault. USC has now canceled their graduation ceremony.
So now these poor babies that got all their ceremonies canceled for COVID went through school 4 years later. They like, I actually
how crazy is that?
And your graduation again get fucking canceled. Oh, I will be goddamn livid.
No high school or college graduation.
A lot of you gotta realize, it's 4 years later for a lot of those kids. So for the kids that went in and did that 4 years, it's time again for them to get their praises and all that shit. And they was like, nah, go ahead, tell your families to cancel them flights.
Yeah, and OJ died this year too, so it's really bad for USC. It's a really bad year for USC.
Or good if you're like Fred Gold. Like he loves it. Campus anti-war protesters now also have dug in all around the country. And now these municipalities, these universities are calling like the police on some of them, which I'm sorry, man. Like, that's never the good guys in the movie. Like I don't
know the time that they call campus security, but they don't want to call them. They want to call.
Well, I'm sure they called campus security first. I'm sure they did. The kids aren't leaving. It's a protest.
Right.
The goal is to not leave, and
the goal is to not leave.
And honestly, you put sicking the police on them, it just makes them look more heroic, more right, more better. It's not like there's no movie where this happens and we cheer it. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, "Fuck, man, the cops are beating up kids." The people that are like, "Yay," always the villains. You know what I'm saying? It's the book burning thing. It's a book burning theory. Okay, you never see good guys burning books, so you don't. So I'm anti-book burning, right? So, it's getting real bad though, and I think I listened to the Daily talk about I think Columbia University, and how that. And it made me reframe the situation in my eyes now to where Republicans are clearly coming down on these universities. They're targeting them much to me in the way that they target the trans community, where it's not really about those universities. It's not even really about the threat that they pose. They don't.
Our base hates Ivy League schools, so
when a lot of them got their degrees from these places.
Yeah. So I think the kids, this is their only way of fighting back, because clearly the conservatives are winning. Because when the Columbia dean or president went to Congress, she capitulated. She was just completely like, yeah, we'll fucking investigate teachers. We're going to kick anyone who's pro. Like, this guy, he's too pro-Palestine. He got to get the fuck off. We're investigating him. The guy didn't even know he was being investigated.
Right. Like, and then Mike Johnson went like 2 days later to Columbia and was like, clearly she has to be removed. She's not doing a good job. So like, it literally was, they want to have it, but which is like, we want the grandstanding to like own the libs on TV in front of our committees. And then we're not going to have them move on. Like, we're not going to support her, even if she, you know, it's a good example of why Democrats shouldn't, like Joe Manchin shouldn't look for bipartisanship, because like they don't actually want this.
Right. There's no reasoning with that side. And they don't really care. Like, it's all
America,
bad.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this has been like one of my big things on the podcast, which is like America right now. If America was made up of the Democratic base or party or non-Republicans, that's what a functioning democracy would look like. You wouldn't have agreement. You'd have the squad representing and Bernie representing a more left-wing vision for America. You'd have Biden kind of in the middle, maybe to the right of the middle. But everybody would be on the same path of like, how do we move this forward? Like, this is a non-starter for me, but this I can compromise on. But the problem is that only represents like 51% of the country, all that chaos. Then there's 49%, or at least in terms of politics, not in terms of population, that are just like, we just want to see that 51% fail.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's my analogy is like, if you're playing a basketball game and it's 5-on-5, but two of your starting five are also like siding with opponent, that's the Republicans. So it's like we are on the American team, but it turns out like we can't get anything done because some of our team is actually against us.
Yeah.
That's their only mission, is like, we want to shave points or throw the game.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is like a no-win situation, because I don't think them getting the police to stick on these kids is going to change anything. If anything, it's kind of like the civil rights movement, where it wasn't getting too much traction, especially internationally. And then because of the invention of basically news camera and global news, and then the police going out there and doing what they be doing on camera, it made people more sympathetic to be like, yeah. And I think this is going to make more kids protest. It's going to shut down more campuses, because it's one of the only places that kids can like express how they're feeling about it. In a place where they can be together in solidarity. It's, you know, we don't have a lot of spaces like that. Like, social media is not really a space. It's just, we're all individually on there together. You could hashtag something, but like, these kids, what they're doing is pretty inspiring, that they're putting their educations and their lives at risk to make a statement about what's going on in Gaza and try to get it to stop. Like, I don't. And I'll just say lastly, and then Karen, you got it. If the universities were this liberal bastion that all these Republicans say they are, they wouldn't be calling the cops on these kids. Like, that's always been a lie, that universities are some of the oldest traditional, steeped in racism and a bunch of other isms in the world, in America, especially. Like, going back, like, many of their origin stories are like, we wouldn't let no black people in, we had slaves build it, and then in the last like 30-40 years, as Republicans became staunchly anti people learning things, they've been like, because they go there and they learn that everyone's transgender, and then they gonna come out and vote that way. And now I'm like, well, the schools are kind of showing you, if you didn't believe all the black people that have ever worked there, if you didn't believe all the LGBTQ people that have worked there and attended those places that are like, actually, it's not very liberal, I think going to get the cops to get the kids out of there says these places ain't that liberal. Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, and also it's one of those things where Universities, like you said, is one of the few places where you get a large collection of young people, even though you have people of all ages between the ages of like 18 to like, 24, 25, particularly if you live on campus all together, and them learning about the political process. And because for a lot of them, they've only had to fight their parents, but now for some of them, they're coming to reality. It's a whole ass system here. And so the system is the school, quote unquote. It's a small system, but the system is the school versus the kind of the larger system. And so this is allowing them to voice their opinions and get their voices out there. And the place where for a lot of them, this is one of the first time that they've actually been heard and been kind of inspired to actually raise their voices and protest and be like, well, I don't like this, and I don't like this. They're learning this stuff. Like, it's a lot
actually, Karen, one of the things I think is being underestimated is that these kids have been organizing. They actually like grew up in an organizing time, like Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, the Pink Pussy Hat marching, the the Women's March, like they've actually in a way that maybe because we're living through it, it doesn't seem the same, right? But these kids have grown up living and organizing protest for a while, and so I think people are underestimating the resolve of these kids, because it's not just that they're being inspired. They actually have the tools to keep shit like this going for a while. This is not a flash in the pan, like, oh, they're out today. I'm not saying you're saying this. They're not like out today, but they'll be up tomorrow. These kids are like, they kind of been through some shit, like also the March for Our Lives, the gun stuff. Like this is a generation of pretty active kids that are protesting.
Yeah, and I agree. And also you're talking about a lot of these are the generation of school shooters. A lot of them have gone through seeing friends and family members die. So a lot of them, even if they chose not to, particularly if they was in some of these larger ones that kind of covered the news, a lot of them have been thrust and thrown into protesting and standing up, and regardless of if they wanted to or not. So for some of them, this is quote unquote a part of life. Yeah. So if they go through and then they go to college and they see some injustice, they're like, no, we got to speak up on this. And there are some people, like you said, you have that subsection, but in that subsection, you have a lot of people that may have came in that might not have known or even cared about the importance of this. Those are the students that I'm talking about that are getting inspired to join this group of people that are already organized.
That's what protest does. It inspires people on the sidelines and stuff. And I think, honestly, opposition to it grows it. So, like, y'all bringing in the cops is not, like, there's kids that were probably like, is this even that big a deal? Like, can't we just go to school? And then they see some fucking cop on TV pulling some kid, tackling somebody, and then it's like, oh, we need to get out there. This is a moment for change. It's interesting watching this work in present day, because you would think everyone would understand this is only gonna make the problem bigger if you're one of these people calling the cops. It's not gonna go away because y'all call the cops.
Correct. And also you have a lot of older people that have a tendency to dismiss the anger and the things that young people go through, because they just dismiss it because they go, well, y'all just young people, get on back. But what they fail to realize is something larger happening, and you have to, even though you're older, you still need to pay attention to these things, because they're going to be the next generation. So you actually need to pay attention to what they're complaining about.
Right? We're living in a montage right now. Like, this is going to be a montage in some documentary one day to some song. Like, this that, like, these videos will be used for that, because I mean that they're standing for something that's bigger than themselves, that doesn't necessarily directly affect them, and because of the history that we have living through, like, racial protests, I do feel like the tactic of taking the most extreme views that people have and being like, and so that's why this whole thing is not valid, because somebody put up this sign or someone said that. You can't, if you disagree with what that sign says, you need to disagree with everything these kids stand for and are out here for. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, but because I've seen it happen before in different ways, I'm like,
you're going to reject the whole movement.
That's probably not the majority of the people out there. And yes, I can disagree with the people that are using like racist phrases or saying you need to kill all the Zionists and shit like that. I can disagree and go, I think those people might be out of pocket, but still agree with the sentiment of, hey, protesting to raise like we need another solution and just bombing the shit out of these people over and it's been 6 months now,
right?
There has to be something else we can do. I feel like that's all valid.
I think, because I think the protests make perfect sense when you obviously remove, some of the outlying anti-Semitism, which is obviously completely wrong.
Right.
But it's just funny to me in this country where, like, if these were, I mean, think about it this way. This is where we are as a nation, that there are people trying to claim that January 6th people are hostages in jail. And yet when college kids protest or are disruptive, and obviously it behooves the Republicans to tie in protest to the examples of anti-Semitism, to wrap them in the same thing, because, not to sound like a cliche, hey, what's more American in First Amendment than protest? Like, that's one of those things. Once again, I've said this on a lot of different issues. The Republicans have become the party of performative, fake mascot patriotism and not actually liking most of the things, whether it's the multiculturalness of America, the fact that anybody, whatever you look like, can make it. They love saying that in theory. They actually don't like it when it happens. They love First Amendment free speech, don't do cancel culture. But when someone exercises free speech in the form of protests they disagree with, they hate it.
Right.
They don't like it. And it's, I said this to somebody in conversation recently. I said, the difference I feel like between America and the Republicans' vision of America is like, if you said, who's the best Chicago Bull of all time? Michael Jordan or the guy who dresses up in the Chicago Bulls mascot? Like, one of those dudes is clearly the embodiment and the highest ideal of the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. The other is a clown who runs around like throwing free T-shirts at people going, "Go Bulls!"
Right?
Who's been more favorable to the Chicago Bulls? Like, Trump is the mascot; he does all the bullshit, and they say, "Yes, that's America." Then they hate America in practice. They only like it in theory, and so. The protests, I think, obviously, I feel for Joe Biden, a genocide Joe thing. He's an older generation. He knows the struggles of Israel's existence for most of his life. I think he knows that Netanyahu sucks. I think he looks at it as they are an ally, and I got to keep them close so maybe I can have influence. And I think he's realizing, unfortunately, that there is no influence over Benjamin Netanyahu because he's incentivized to keep a war going, to be like, he has every reason to keep, he wants to stay in power. He is not an honest broker. He is not a reliable party. But what I see in my life is, obviously I have my best friend is Jewish. Not that that matters for this, but in terms of trying to be sensitive to what happened October 7th and realizing that this disproportionate response is bad, and it's headed towards, famine issues, and that has to stop. And I think Biden, if Biden had unilateral power and I think he would. I think he's a decent man who does not like what's going on, but he is facing harsh realities of global politics. That said, I also have people in my life who it's like will send me lots of, look at what Israel's doing. Look at what Israel's doing. Look at this. And I'm like, but you're also the dude who a year or two ago told me that they were going hard on Kanye and Kyrie because certain people have too much power.
Right.
So when I hear you saying that to me,
right,
I don't hear an honest broker standing up for, even though there is a stance of Palestine, of protecting people in Gaza and children and women, and of course, but it's hard for me to take you seriously when I hear all these other things predating this, where it's like, I don't know, this feels more like an excuse to go after than it is, my God, I have been woken up to the struggles and plight.
I've seen people say, like, recently, and it's one of the reasons I don't really post much about it and stuff, because, like, a lot of the stuff online, in addition to inviting like these weird troll Russian like weird
they come out of
weird
nowhere.
accounts, there's also people that live in information silos, so they just like this is all they talk about and they want to argue and fight about it or whatever.
They will find you,
which is fine for them, but it's not for me. But I remember someone sent me something where it's like, yeah, you know, this thing is bad or whatever, and you know, you can't really say much about it, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know, people are protesting and people are saying stuff and that's good. And they were like, yeah, but you know, when you know who controls the media, and I'm like, oh, okay.
You once told a story on the show. You once brought this up, and I thought it was perfect, where you said there can be resentment sometimes when you see a certain community with the power to flex and react to hate against them. The goal should be we want to be like them, not we need to hate them because they get to do it and we don't. And I remember this person saying to me one time remember Myers Leonard in the NBA? He was on the Heat, a decent role player. Yeah. He said Jewish, like the Jewish N-word, basically. He used the Jewish slur on like a video game, and he was out. He was like, nope. That's not okay. And he used that as an example of like, did you see how quickly they got him out? And I go, but what's the flip side of that? If he had called some kid the N-word, you think the NBA would have been like, well, that's bad.
Right.
But it's okay. The only one kicked out faster.
Right.
N-word.
And that's the thing, like
it's this warped perspective of like everything that goes on with this group, I see through the lens of like annoyed or angry that they have this power or this ability to rally and move change and we don't. Now I look at it and go, right, Black people need to have that power too. Right. Not resent people who have the power.
Keep in mind, people use that argument against Black people all the time too, of like, well, if I was, you know, if it was them saying the N-word, they would have got kicked out. But because he said the F word, that means and it's like, that's true in that case that Kobe called a ref a F word and like got a fine or some shit. And absolutely, if Tyler Hansbrough would have called a ref the N-word, he would have been done in the NBA, you know? And also that Myers Leonard thing is funny because Kyrie Irving said, I'll top that. And he's still in the NBA. He's playing today. Like so like it's, you know, it's definitely a lot of goalpost moving when it comes to sports and race and all that stuff.
And with the issue of white privilege, I am somebody like because I see it in the comments, like yes, I feel like Jewish people have, for the most part, benefited from some level of privilege, of course.
In America,
in America, yes.
But the hate, the people, the truly hateful are kind of, Trump is showing them, you know, like a higher status. And now you're seeing, oh, yeah, maybe to the average white guy walking down the street, it's Jewish guy's white, like, you know, but to the hardcore haters,
they don't like
a difference. There is a difference. And Trump has empowered the hardcore haters, not even the average white dude. So like, that's why you see temples getting, you've seen a real rise in anti-Semitic violence since Trump. Like that's data. So even though to the average, I would agree, to the average person in average time. But if you look back to the civil rights era, you know, Mississippi burning, it was one black dude and two Jewish dudes down there who trying to help people vote who got murdered. Like that used to be, that was the coalition that people seem to, you know, that has become frayed.
Let's do, we'll do one more segment. I know we're almost at 2 hours. So I'll start wrapping this thing up. I'll let you pick, JL. What segment do you want to end on? Obviously before sword ratchetness, white people news or guess the race?
Guess the race.
All right, let's go to guess the race. Let me play my guess the race music. We'll get help from JL on knowing white people another time.
You done it, I think, like Wednesday. I think on the last pre recap episode. I think you did white people news. So Had you not,
Yeah.
I would have gone with it. But let's
no problem. No, there's no. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. We love talking to you, and it ends up being long, and then I feel like I'm abusing your time, and so I'm like,
nah.
Let's wrap this thing up, and I don't want to like make you go through white people news and guest stories because who knows how long that would take. So we'll do guest stories this time. What time is it?
It's time to guess the race. It's time to guess the race. It's time to guess the race. It's time to guess the race.
All right, guess the race time. Time to go around the world, find different people, and guess the race of the folks that did stuff in these articles. Of course, Karen and JL Covan are the contestants today, and the chat room will be playing along. They are, of course, racist as well. So we'll just be going with that. Let's go with this first article. Detroit teacher says she was fired for her rap career.
Okay.
Back in December, Dominique Brown was named Teacher of the Month at Taylor Prep High School. Months later, she lost her job because a parent complained about her side hustle. When she wasn't in the classroom teaching U.S. history, Brown, born and raised in Detroit, began pursuing her rap career under the name Drippin' Honey. By now, her music video, Drippin' 101, has been seen by tens of thousands across numerous social media platforms. The video features some of her students she taught dancing and singing along with her. And after that, she was found out. So I guess the video was done after she was fired. So the kids are dancing and singing in the video, but it's after she found out she had been fired that they did the video.
All right. She was like, I'm no longer your teacher, so...
She said, my outside life should not be grounds for termination when it does not interfere with my ability to fulfill my responsibilities as a teacher. My dedication, professionalism, and passion for education has always been unwavering, regardless of any personal pursuits I may have. She's been teaching for 7 years. She's pursuing a master's degree and is striving for her doctorate. The parents' complaint was made anonymously October 2023. It led to 5 months of meeting with the school where she had to defend her music career. The first meeting was with my dean and my principal. They were just telling me, hey, a parent said they seen your social media that you're a bad influence because you're a rapper. However, the parent continued to complain. She said, despite asking for a complaint in writing, she never received it. I was like, hey, well, can we tell that parent to come in and see professionalism, see me in the classroom, see me after school,
they didn't care nothing about
see me at all the games, see me dropping kids off every day, buying food. Can they come see me in my element before they try to say I'm unprofessional in it? The rapper believes she was discriminated against.
I do too.
Music is part of the culture. We're from Motown. This is what we do. So it's not like it's unheard of. It's the culture. When you look like me, you just understand it a little bit better. In a statement, a spokesperson for Taylor Prep said they're aware, but they can't talk about it. You know that bullshit. She said she's gonna hire an attorney to take legal action against the school. Guess the race of the teacher, Dominique Brown.
I'm going brown like her skin, so black.
All right.
But I do agree because it's one of those things where if it's gonna be anonymous and my job's on the line, yeah, we're gonna have to, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to be unanonymous, bitch. Because I'm really affected by this.
Okay. All right. And JL? Oh, you're muted. Yeah, no problem.
Censoring Cookie.
Yeah.
I would have said white until I heard the name and her talking about when you look like me, you understand it better, because Drippin' Honey made me think, ooh, is she like a blonde? Is she like a blonde woman? Like the rap shit woman? Mm-hmm. And then the fact that it took so long that it wasn't just like you're fired like 3 days later.
Right.
But I would say black. I thought this was going to be like the OnlyFans thing where it was like, oh, this is free PR, but it seems like this is actually not that. This is like, no. I want to keep my job.
Let's see. The chat room says, niggas, she took the kid on a field trip to Trap House, Miss Nizzle. Miss Nizzle. Black, and I hope she is winning. Sound like she's losing. She getting her doctorate, higher education sister, black. She look like me, black, revolutionary nigga. Blackity black with a beat. The correct answer is she's black. You guys all got it correct. And I don't know if it'll play her video here or not. But this is a still shot of her with the kids in her video. And I mean, looking at what she has on the stuff, it doesn't seem like it's not Sexy Red or like Megan Thee Stallion. Like, I don't see like I guess it depends on the content of the music. Oh, there was a whole article about this.
2 months later, she was fired, but it wasn't about anything she did in the classroom. She says a parent complained about her rap career, which was off the clock. By now, Drippin' Honey's music video, Drippin' 101, has been seen by tens of thousands across numerous social media platforms.
She hugging, man. Honestly, dog, I didn't feel bad before, but watching the video, I actually kind of feel bad, man. She seemed like she was the cool teacher.
Look like them kids love her.
That's one of the things that actually like is underrated is the cool teacher that's still like a teacher. Like they're not the cool like slimy teacher is like, hey, you want to smoke some weed? No, like the cool teacher is like, hey man, growing up doesn't mean you have to be like not cool, and it makes you look forward to school. And that's the teacher that you feel like you can kind of share like a problem with that you're never gonna share with another teacher. Like it might blend some lines of professional, unprofessional. I can see that, but it's not all bad, is what I'm saying. That made me feel bad that she's not there anymore.
And that video had like a little bit of, without knowing the lyrics, it had almost like a positivity feel to it. Not like, it didn't look like some sort of aggressive, thing that somebody might go, oh, that's not okay. That's not okay.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, and the person that complained was white, and probably a lot of people that made the decision was white because they was like, it's rap, so it must be bad. Like
I'm not even gonna say it's because they white, because it's Detroit. Everybody in that staff could be black. It don't matter. Like certain shit, just people got hangups about. I think you just say rap and rap video, like people just it's bad. You know the teeth.
Well,
maybe the hair wasn't white.
I was in a Walmart like many years ago, but the song, I don't know if you know it, by Katy Perry with Kanye, E.T., where he did a rap verse on it, but it's a very sexual song. Like it's clearly about sex and very thin metaphors. But in Walmart, the Kanye verse was like the clean edit, even though there were no curses. There used to be a time where the clean edit basically meant any rap make this a non-clean song. And I thought, well, that's racist. That like, because it's like you're basically saying the presence of this black person rapping has degraded this into not safe for kids. Even though Katy Perry's lyrics are all about like, fill me with your poison. And it's like, what? That's more graphic than anything Kanye says on the song, but you left that in. And that's when the thing I meant to mention during the hockey thing was the first hockey game I went to last year, you know, the song, the Alicia Keys, Jay-Z New York song. That's like that's practically Black Eyed Peas anthem at this point.
Exactly.
They had like a Blink 182 band like playing there. It was like New York, where dreams are made of, and I was like, that song was too black for the hockey audience. You needed to like lighten it up. I'm not kidding. I was like, oh boy, oh my
god, that's terrible.
Yes, I was like,
hilarious.
That song required like a reboot, like because what somebody be like, oh, like Jay-Z. I must not down with him.
What's crazy is living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and with an NBA team, the Hornets. We had the opposite thing happen. So like some artist from Charlotte or someone they hired made like our theme song, and it's like a real corny song, but it's like perfect for like a sports. It's like, this city is my city, and I love it. Yeah, I love it.
I was born and raised here. Yeah, so that's my jam.
I'm gonna stay here for life.
Hey, for life. We go too many Hornets games. That's my motherfucking jam.
So like we love that song, right?
Yes.
But we had the opposite happen. they went out and got Anthony Hamilton to cover the song, which doesn't even feel right. Like I love Anthony Hamilton, but Anthony Hamilton don't make inspirational. We're all from the same city. Let's go Hornets. He makes
slows it down.
I can't believe she left me.
Yes,
all I have left in my cupboard is some grits. And some brown liquor, and I want to kill myself. That's the kind of music he made, and like they went and remixed it, and they played that for like a month or something. And I was just like, nah, man. Like I hate to be anti-black, but put the white man back on, okay? Anthony, we appreciate the effort.
Yes, and I love Anthony.
This ain't about you. Mm-mm. I hope if I see you in Harris Teeter with your beautiful family, I'm gonna wave at you and and all that. But I promise you, we don't want this, man. It just sounds so different. Like he didn't even sound right at the preamble where the guy's like, you know, what if I told you my city was the best? Like he's like, what if I told you my city was the best? What if I told you we better than the rest? I'm like, he can't even hit the octave required to do this. Y'all
it's just something about that white man.
Yeah, y'all just didn't feel comfortable with the white man having it. Let the white man have some things. It's fine.
It's a bop.
Anyway. Next article. Man, now I don't know. JL might already know this one because it happened in his area of the country, New York City. A Bronx man has been charged with 8 random punching attacks on women since February.
Random punch? You know what? I was going to say, you got a problem with women. All your victims are women?
Well, I think JL would say, let's hear him out. So.
All the women did something to you? Are they all exes? What's happening here?
Well, I mean, I'd like to just hear the end of the article. That's all.
Keep an open mind.
Both sides. Let's hit both sides.
Since February, he said he had 8 random punching attacks on women, which, by the way, means it's more, right?
Because of course, these are the only ones.
Some women took that punch and just went about their day. It's like, why involve? It's already sucks. So why involve the police anymore?
Right. It's bad enough I got punched.
So he went on a rant to the cops when he got arrested. It's different with men, said Daquan Armstead, 31.
Oh, it's different? Why? Because the men, higher probability of you getting punched back in the face? What's up?
He said, they don't test you like women do. You have to check women sometimes.
As a man, like, women's should worship me. You feel me?
Wow.
Like, man eat steak, pork, chitlin. Woman eat salad. That's just what it is. I want to watch football game, eat food. With women, they supposed to be loving us. You feel what I'm saying? Man,
are you married by chance?
Nah, man, I ain't never had a girlfriend.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the reason why I haven't had one is because women's be tripping.
Mm-hmm. He's making some good points. Officials said Armstead made misogynistic comments after cops arrested him and charged him with the assaults.
Oh, you don't say.
Some of the attacks were the subject of TikTok videos shot by women who had been targeted. Our clip set New Yorkers on edge. Armstead was released without bail after he assaulted a woman in 2021. He was set loose again in February after the first incident in the latest string of violence. The man was arraigned on Wednesday in Manhattan Criminal Court, charged with several counts of assault and assault as a hate crime. He's currently out on 2 bench warrants. Based on the information present to me, he does pose a risk of flight, but to avoid prosecution and bail is required to ensure his return to court. A warrant was already out for his arrest after he failed to return to court following the assault on a woman in 2021, but he didn't show up to court again until February when he was arrested for attacking another woman. He was put on supervised release and failed to show up in court again until after he was arrested. It's kind of weird that when he goes to court, he don't hit women. So, like, he can control it.
Yeah, maybe because his hands are handcuffed. I don't know. I don't know. And what's the difference, Jay, between a regular warrant and a bench warrant? Ain't they all warrants?
Oh, you muted. No problem. I know Cookie's wilding out back there.
Yeah, Cookie's going crazy. I feel like I mean a bench warrant is issued by a judge. I feel like that's just it's been a while since I was a real lawyer, but I feel like it's the same thing. It's just a different way of saying
like, ain't it still a warrant?
Hold on. Let me check my law books on Google.
Because I've never heard it called a bench warrant. So that's why I was like,
okay. A bench warrant is issued. The judge has proof that you've missed a court date, failed to pay a fine, or committed another violation.
Okay. Versus a regular
So
warrant.
it's from the bench, aka the judge.
Okay.
Like you didn't show, basically. So it's like, okay, now we did this the nice way. Now I'm telling you, you got to come in.
I got you.
His attorney said incarceration would do him more harm than good.
Child, go to jail. Go to jail and punch people in there and see what happens.
Yeah.
If I was his lawyer, though, I would. Karen gave me a good idea, or both of you. I'd have him like handcuffed, but like moving towards the closest woman. Yes! Just pretend like you need to hit that woman, like it's a disease. Like, get over here. Like, so you could just you see he's got problems. He's obviously
I can't help myself. I can't help myself.
I feel bad because his attorney is a woman. Oh. That's a lot of pressure for her.
You giving off the wrong genes. He don't know how to respond to it.
Like, all right, so I got some bad news. They are holding you until hey, calm the fuck down, bro. All right.
You security. Headbutt me.
Your Honor, I'd like to say not guilty. We want to plead. If he would just stop swinging for a second, we would plead not guilty.
For reasons of insanity.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. He almost caught me that time. See, I learned.
Your Honor, when someone with a mental health concern is incarcerated, nothing good happens for anyone. The person becomes destabilized. The person becomes less connected with certain things that they need, and the outcome for everyone and everything is worse. The women he attacked range from age 24 to 44. And then they go into like some of the people he attacked. All right. Guess the race of Mr. Daquan Armstead. Karen?
Black.
All right, JL.
I'm gonna go black.
Well, just on a personal, 24 to 34 was my dating website age range. The last time I was single. So
we stand an open-minded king. 24 to 44 is what.
Yeah, when I was like 30. When was the last time I said 36, 35? Okay. So just. So I'm saying I think I could reach this guy. Is what I'm saying. Like we.
Oh, okay. You should go back and be his lawyer.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I just like to say Exhibit A, women be tripping.
I would like to say men eat steak, women eat salad. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be loving us.
Caucasians. He is
black. Let's check the chat room and see what they believe.
He is black. Just
yeah, I got you. This a broken nigga since Daddy Samuels died. He don't know where to turn. Definitely revolutionary. You trying to help Ike Turner Energy Black. Mm-hmm. He voted for Kanye for president, and he has a We Hate Black Women podcast. Criminal and Black AF. Alpha male nigga. Black frightening. Some nigga shit. He definitely says females black. Volcano Ash, Mountain Hotel Negro. The correct answer is black. You all got it right. It's the Daquan of it all, I think, that just really helped everybody.
Oh, he did that. And yes, if we're not gonna go to jail, we do need to go like mentally to something off. You just go around punching women.
He has a face that looks like he gonna punch a woman.
He does, don't he?
Like you see him walking down the street looking like that. It's like, oh God, I'm getting punched.
Right.
All right, let's go to the bonus round. So far, everyone is 2 for 2. Woo-hoo! On this one. Everyone's got it right. So
that bitch was white. I ain't racist. How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Call them niggers. Just call them niggers.
It's time to get
gold teeth, gold chain wearing, fried chicken and biscuit eating monkey. Ate baboon, big dive, fast running, high jumping, spear chucking, 360-degree basketball.
Hey, baby, that last dude was a Umar Johnson disciple, apparently.
Umar Johnson?
Yeah. Not Umar Johnson, Dr. Umar.
Oh, no, that's right. That's his name. I was just trying to think.
Oh, okay.
What made you say it? That he's a Umar Johnson disciple?
Oh, he don't like black women.
Oh, I feel like that's more of a Kevin Samuels thing than an Umar Johnson thing.
That too.
But although I would say both are misogynistic. But yeah, that was I don't know what the fuck that dude was on. He listened to Buster and TJ podcast. I think we found a listener base. Primary school teacher 50 pretended that she had COVID after killing her cheating boyfriend during a sex game. And she used the 10-day isolation from illness to bury him in the backyard.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's like a good plot on the season of Fargo.
See, this is why they short the days, y'all. Everybody wonder why they shutting the day. They were like, y'all can't be out here killing people. Y'all need to get back to work.
A primary school teacher stabbed her cheating boyfriend in the neck in a chilling domestic execution, then told her friend she had COVID to buy herself more time to bury him in the garden. Fiona Bill, 50, lured builder Nick Billingham into the bedroom for sex and then knifed him in the neck when he was tied to the bed in November 1st, 2021.
Oh, damn. She was like, oh, you're going to be out here pushing these daisies.
Yeah. Literally.
Right?
Prosecutor Hugh Davies, KC, whatever that means, King's Court, I guess, told the jury that Bill had planned the murder, purchasing a knife in advance. The highly capable teacher then told friends the pair had tested positive for COVID-19 so that she would not be disturbed while she buried the victim, 42, in the garden. His mummified body was found 4 months later, wrapped in a sheet in a makeshift grave after Bill's journals, where she plotted the killing as her alter ego, Tulip 22.
Oh shit! I guess I was close with the pushing daisy comments.
Tulips.
Don't keep a journal of your murder.
Is that your legal advice as a lawyer?
Yeah, I mean that's just
right. It's in writing.
I know enough to say don't. This is even worse than the Stringer Bell. Don't take notes on a criminal conspiracy. Don't journal your murder.
She then spent months using her partner's phone to message his friends and relatives, pretending he was still alive, and then moved in with another woman. The court admits manslaughter but denies murder, claiming loss of control. Mr. Billingham
got stabbed in the neck.
I think that's their way of saying it's a crime of passion.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Billingham had affairs before and moved out of the home, but the couple had reconciled. Well, he thought they had.
Apparently, she hadn't reconciled.
Mr. Davies said central to the plan was knowing that after stabbing him, if she claimed that she had COVID, she would have 10 days to bury him and cover up her crime. And that's exactly what happened. She was thinking about what time was best to do it, whether he would be snoring, but she knew or visualized it would be by stabbing him left to right, down, slit right. And that's what she did. She stabbed him in his jugular vein in his neck.
Ooh.
Yeah, she manufactured a positive COVID test result. All you had to do was complete the NHS questionnaire online app, self-report a positive test. There's no evidence she ever did a PCR test. Her actions in the next 10 days are wholly inconsistent with having exhausting effects of COVID, which she was claiming to be experiencing. She murdered him in the bedroom late on the 1st of November, cleaned up. The cleanup started as early as 1:07 a.m. on the 2nd November. Using her dead partner's account and then hers on Amazon, she brought multiple cleaning products, including for Venetian blinds.
Amazon and Google be telling on you.
Venetian blinds, a new mop and bucket, ultra heavy duty bin bags, a new mattress, bedding, clothing, wall art, and mirrors. It must have got bloody. It must have got real bloody up in there. She had to get rid of wall art and mirrors.
Damn, you ordered a whole nother room on Amazon.
Yeah. And this
Did
is when
she
everybody
watch
was
blackface on Amazon Prime though.
That she can.
Yeah,
if she still got a subscription.
I mean, for free, she sure can. Every one of them count, JL. I don't blame you.
Later that same day, she changes a Tesco order itself, already containing multiple cleaning products, to add 3 rolls of duct tape.
Oh damn! Not 3 whole rolls.
2:19 p.m. Man, everything being digital really came back to haunt her. Because, like, on the one hand, you could not have done this crime before the pandemic, but on the other hand, because we all went digital during the pandemic, every step of the crime is now like timestamped.
Yes, it is.
It's like, no, you actually went back on Instacart and added 3 rolls of duct tape. That was at 2:19.
Yeah.
Then your Ring doorbell shows you. They got every.
We saw when it was actually delivered.
So then she purchased heavy duty gardening gloves, a stainless steel spade, a galvanized incinerator being garden leaves wood burner.
Damn, a galvanizing was shit.
To state the obvious, this was not for burning leaves. More
you don't say.
Yeah, I also keep thinking, like, as new problems arose, as she was like, all right, I'll just burn. I don't have a fucking shovel. Fuck. All right, I'll just add that to the Instacart.
It'll be here in 3 hours.
Now let me move this body. You know what? If I could just tape his hands, I could move the whole body. I wouldn't even have to cut it apart. You know what? Cancel the hatchet. 3 rolls of duct tape. I'm gonna just duct tape the whole fucking body. So more of the same followed the next 10 days. She was concurrently telling friends that she had they both had COVID. She was messaging people about the virus bleach cleaning. And this is a cover story because better described, you may think, as a grand deception. There were further detailed and considered purchases on multiple other dates to continue and finish the job of cable tying, wrapping and burying her partner in his makeshift tomb, as well as multiple purchases of her own for her own comfort and indulgent by the ways of chocolates, scented candles, toiletries, soft furnishings, and clothing. So she said, listen, okay, self-care.
And you know what? I bet she started doing, she was like, you know what? I am $10 off from saving 15%. Let me go ahead and throw them 3 extra rolls of duct tape in there.
Right,
so I can save my 15%.
She, the way he was wrapped with cables, hose pipes, and plastic bags, building detritus, afforded him no dignity in death and shows utter contempt. She cannot have forgotten this. She now claims to have forgotten most of the month of November 2021. The prosecution invites you to reject that claim. It's another instrumental lie designed to avoid conviction of murder, said the prosecutors. So in her journal, she wrote that he asked why after she stabbed him.
She wrote down everything.
You're also likely to hear evidence from a psychologist and a psychiatrist. It is for you to decide whether her claimed loss of memory is false. There's no conclusive test for that. It is for you to decide the facts of the relationship, not the experts.
Before we guess, may I offer a solution here?
Mm-hmm.
Her and the guy, Daquan, from the previous story, in a cell together.
Okay, all right.
And just she kills men, he punches women. Just see,
film
it, make content, battle of the genders. You know,
we have to give her access to an Amazon account. Even like he can't have it, but she can have access to anything she needs on Amazon because we got to keep it fair. You know,
she can order her props 1 week before incarceration, whatever she needs, and then it will be stored like Hunger Games, like it will be. Yeah. Placed in her corner of the room.
Yeah, because she's already been through it once, so she should know now what she needs.
She prepared.
One click order, like just reorder, like reship or whatever that's called. Like, you know.
Would you like to reorder duct tape? Yep. I don't need that.
Same kind, same brand.
All right. Well, guess the race of what is her name? What is her name again? Fiona Beale.
White.
Karen says white. JL.
White.
He threw up the W sign. White. Let's check the chat room, see what they believe. Blonde and diabolical. Are you saying she's a dripping blonde? Snap Caucasian Cardacity. Just using the world current events to try to get away with murder. Crafty white woman. Murder, she wrote, way too much. A lawful unabided citizen white. Baby powder with a side of meth white. This is definitely white on white crime. Fee is a Taylor Swift white. Alabaster Queen, black and fed up. The correct answer is white. One person said black and I got to boo you. But I appreciate your guess because, I mean, she could have been related to Bradley Beal. How we know. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's her, Fiona Beale, who in this picture is not smiling. This looks like the picture of a woman that just found out he's cheating again.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is him, and he definitely got that I cheat. look, I don't know how to describe
That
it.
looks fake. That looks like somebody cut out a face and put it on a different body.
It almost look like a Popeye arm, doesn't it? Or is that just me? You know when he eats spinach and he like flex his arm?
He got a I'm definitely cheating vibe to him. I don't know.
He got a I spent some time in the gym.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know what they look like to me? If I were to judge their ages, I don't know if the story said their ages, but it looks more like he was like 23 and she was like 34 and divorced. And then by the time he was 30 and she was in her 40s, he was like, it was cool when I was young, but I need to go find some younger women on the side. And then she was like, you can't do this to me.
And she always had the money.
Yeah.
And the stuff that the young women didn't have. And so like, I think that month is right around when the PS5 dropped. So he probably moved back in, you know, to get that brand new PS5, you know. And she was like, I'm gonna pull out them whips and chains.
Oh no. But she does look like she was much older than him.
I got that new PS5, Amazon 1 day free shipping, baby.
1 day free shipping.
I feel like it's one thing if your man cheats on you, but you have the same, but it's like getting older. It's tough for everybody, but in a woman's case where it's like if she's dating the younger guy to make her feel younger, but then he ditches her, I feel like it'll feel even worse than if a age appropriate dude leaves you. Like,
yeah, she gotta go. She gotta go. Kathy Bates in Misery on your ass.
Yeah,
like she ain't got no choice. And you, like I can't feel but so sorry for this man. All right, sword ratchet this time. Woman who went with friend armed with a samurai sword to threaten her abusive ex has been jailed. A woman who went with a friend who was armed with a samurai sword to pay a visit to her ex-partner but ended up threatening a totally innocent man in a mad escapade. Wait, what? How did that happen? She was like, any man will do. Fuck it.
It don't matter. I'm not picky.
Elvira O'Riordan, 30, had confided in her friend that she had been in an abusive relationship when they went to her ex's apartment block. The victim, who lived in the same building, answered the door and was threatened with the sword before the pair barged in looking for her former boyfriend. O'Riordan from Newtown Hall, Hazelbrook Square, Whitehall Road, Dublin. Jesus, that's how y'all say locations over there? Was sentenced to 5 months in jail for aggravated burglary, producing a weapon in course of a dispute, and threatening to kill or seriously harm to a man. Handing down the sentence, Judge Monica Leach said O'Riordan had been part of a joint enterprise. So her and her friend went to the apartment building where the victim lived, and she was looking for her ex-partner, but he was not there. He was away on holiday at the time. She, I guess, fucked up his roommate or something, or threatened the roommate. Threats to kill were made, and the pair entered the building and banged on a door before leaving. And her friend has also been before the courts. They said they had been drinking when she confided in her male friend that she'd been in an abusive relationship with her ex-partner. Then they went to pay him a visit. It was a serious incident. My client very much regrets. She got caught up in a mad escapade. O'Riordan was in a tough place and suffering from trauma at the time, but realized this is not an excuse. The judge said a victim impact statement submitted to the court was very stark. It was harrowing for an innocent man to be threatened that he would be cut open when he was at home doing no harm to anyone. The words that were used still haunt him, she said, referring to the statement. He continued to struggle with sleeplessness and had triple locks put on his living quarters in the aftermath. I mean, I hate to tell him, it's probably not going to happen again, right? I mean, anyway. I don't want to say you're overreacting because I didn't get threatened, but you're probably straight.
I think you might be good.
Yeah, it's the sword that really escalated things. So, yeah, it sounds like she got 6 months for that. Which I feel bad for if she was really being abused by that one dude. It's just, I wonder if it's almost better he wasn't home, because maybe she would have killed him and then she'd be in jail even longer.
The ex-roommate, the roommate, well, I'm about to say, yeah, definitely gonna be an ex-roommate. It's like, now why am I in it?
And she looked black too. I know it's over there across the pond, so I don't know how they do race over there, but she looked black to me. But yeah, that's it. JL, tell everybody where to find you, find the special, check out your podcast, Rain on Parade, all that stuff.
Yes, sir. JLcomedy.com. JLcomedy.com has a link to Tall Boy, which is my special on YouTube. It has a link to Half Blackface, which is free on Amazon Prime right now. My store has, all my albums where you can stream or buy those. And the website has links to both my podcasts, Making Podcasts Great Again and Rain on Your Parade. So a lot of stuff. My blog is up every week. So some fun stuff to read. And as far as shows coming up, I guess DC, any DC people, get your tickets. I'm there the 28th and 29th of June. So the sooner those tickets sell, the less stressed I am. So yeah, that's it.
Buy tickets, stream the special because it's good. Also stream it because, we got to help out with his tooth and his gums. We got to help out with suing over his special. Like, it's a lot. We got a lot going on over there, man.
Yeah, put y'all 5 on it.
And JL, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And for JL came on when we did Karen Hunter's show.
He did.
I'll go in more detail about that stuff, but he was one of the guests that I put down like immediately when I was like, yo, if we're gonna get to do this for 3 hours, we gotta bring in some of our people. And JL was on the short list of people. I'm like, yo, we gotta bring them in.
Thank you, JL.
Yeah, and behind the scenes, there's times where I thought he would be on because he was in the program list of people that would be on, and then just he wouldn't be on that week. And it happened a couple of times. I was like, damn, is JL not want to be on? Like,
it's because Karen Hunter likes you more than me. Let's just say it. Let's say it clearly. There's no need to beat around the bush. When Rod is cooking, she goes, Jay who? No, next week.
I thought he was tapping out. I was like, well, maybe he's busy doing all that lawyering, but I guess I was wrong. Anyway, man, hopefully with her hearing you on this and all this stuff, man, hopefully we get to be on there together. And if not, whenever we're hosting, we'll definitely invite you because we always have a fun time with you, man.
We do.
Thanks for listening, everybody. This is a long one, so don't, we take a couple of days off or a day off or something, don't be mad. And we'll be back throughout the week. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody.